in manipulation. We get in, we get out. That was a terrible Stallone impression. I sounded like a Russian. So for those of you who don't know what the Expendables is, it's basically a action movie franchise that has all of the old 80s action heroes like Schwarzenegger, Stallone, uh, Claude Van Damme, Lundgren, just a whole big cast of just testosterone fueled bodybuilding, machine gun wielding action heroes that we knew and loved from that time period. However, it hasn't been the best series. The first one was okay, it was kind of drab, and I didn't really feel like it used its full potential. However, the second one did improve on it, but I felt like it was more or less the same for the first half, and then it really started picking up and became an entertaining for the second half. So I thought that the Expendables 3 could go either way. It could either go really well, or it could be drab like the first one, or maybe a half and half like the second one. Well, I am pleasantly surprised to say that this is easily the best in the trilogy, delivering the best villain, character development, writing, and action the series has seen. Onto the plot. Like I said, the writing is much better than the previous two films. I actually thought it was very good for the most part. Of course, you have your cheesy one-liners, which is a requirement for this kind of movie, and they were good when they were there, but there were a few cringe-worthy lines. You're like, oh geez, here we go, but it never fell down the pit, and it always recovered really quickly, so the writing was very good. The characters are more fleshed out this time, and I found myself caring about them a lot more than I did the previous two films, and I think that has a lot to do with the fact that each of the characters aren't just cameos anymore, like I felt in the previous two. I felt that every character that was there mattered and had a specific purpose, and I thought the film did a really good job of fleshing out their talents, as well as their personalities, and just overall the best cast that this series has seen. And the writing complements that. The acting is solid. There isn't a particularly bad performance in this movie. They're all good. I mean, there's not any Oscar-worthy performances, but they obviously tried, and you can see their enthusiasm in it, and that makes you feel for the characters more than the first one, which was just cameo, hi, I'm here, let me shoot things. Alright, give me my paycheck, can I leave now? There's one notable performance in this movie, and that's of Mel Gibson, the film's antagonist. And he does a very good job of portraying a very intimidating, scarred and ruthless villain that fits the classic 1980s air of, you did this, so I'm going to retaliate with extreme force. And I thought that he did a really good job of that, and he fit the role better than I thought he would have, because I'm like, it's Mel Gibson. I've never seen him do a really good bad guy, but he showed me that he could pull it off, and I'm very glad he was in this movie. But without a doubt, he is the strongest villain out of the entire series. Let's go ahead and move on to the action. The action is the best in the series. There's no shaky cam. Everything is well shot. The hand-to-hand combat scenes are very involving, as well as the gunfights. Of course, it's the Expendables. You have to have the 1980s shootouts where everyone has about 80,000 rounds of ammo in their magazine, but still, that's the fun of it. But there's just great action throughout, especially in the last act, where it's just... It kind of reminded me of the Avengers back in 2012. It was basically this 20-minute long set piece of just mayhem and awesomeness, but with a 1980s action movie twist, and I was just like, yes, throughout that entire segment, and that made the movie so much better than it already was. And it was already a pretty action-heavy film, but that last act really put the icing on the cake for me. It did have a few flaws, and I thought the main issue was the fact that Mel Gibson wasn't in the movie enough. He was the film's main antagonist, but he's really not in it as much as you'd like him to be, especially when the scenes that he's so good in it, and you're like, where is this guy? I want to see more of him. Sure, it's cool to see Stallone recruiting new Expendables, but we've seen that before. We've seen stuff similar like that in the last movie, so I don't really care. I want to see the main villain. Also, the script was very good for the most part, but there were a few eye-rolling lines were like, okay, all right, that was unnecessary. And I thought that the final confrontation in the movie between Stallone and Mel Gibson that they were setting up for was was okay. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't a big finale like I was expecting, and that was a little disappointing for me. The Expendables 3 is a very entertaining summer blockbuster, and I'm going to award it a 3.75 out of 5 stars. Can't quite give it the 4-star rating because of its flaws, but very enjoyable. Have a great day. Make sure to check this one out when it hits theaters August 15th. And enjoy your popcorn. Haha.